Observation is a keen essence to education. Therefore, even if you use the Bible as your defense, people will still go back to their misconceptions of putting the future in the past. So let's watch. Cease from anger and forsake wrath. Fret not thyself in any wise to do evil. For evildoers shall be cut off, but those that wait upon the Lord, they shall inherit the earth. In other words, the Lord is supposed to live among us. So that's why it's called a living God. So it says, and I will build my sanctuary in the midst, and I will dwell with them, and I will be their God, and they shall be my people in truth, written in truth and righteousness, written in the books of Jubilees. So God himself, who is a living God, therefore Allah is not a living God. They don't even know his birthday. So what does this say about God? And the Lord shall be king over all the earth. That day shall there be one Lord, and his name one. So the Lord of Lords name is literally Haile Selassie the first, and it literally has a one behind it. So let's read. O Father, governeth safe paths in the waves, showing that thou canst save from all danger. For in the old time also, when the proud giants perish, for the ungodly and his ungodliness are both alike hateful unto God. For the devising of idols was the beginning of spiritual fornication, and the invention of them the corruption of life. And that started in ancient Egypt, also known as Kemet, because they were the original pagans. That's why it says that all religions stem from Egypt, because in the beginning it was one God and no religion until they started devising idols. For neither were they from the beginning, neither shall they be forever. For by the vain glory of men they entered into the world, and therefore shall they come shortly to an end. For a father afflicted have made an image of his child, soon taken away, now honored him as a God. In other words, they want you to believe that the Son of Man is God himself. Thus, in the process of time, an ungodly custom grown strong was kept as law, and graven images were worshipped by the commandments of kings, not God himself. So they erred in the knowledge of God. For God is a living God. So it literally tells you who God's name is. His foundation is in the holy mountains. Jehovah is more in love with the gates of Zion than with all the tabernacles of Jacob. In other words, Jacob is Jehovah, and Zion is the city. So glorious things are being spoken about you, O city of the true God. Selah. So Selah is Jehovah. Selah is Jacob, God himself. So in the beginning it says, this is the book of the generations of Adam. In the day that God created man, in the likeness of God made he him. Male and female created he them, and blessed them, and called their name Adam in the day when they were created. So in the beginning the word was Ge'ez. That's why Ethiopia has the oldest language in the world, the first language. So common sense would tell you that Jacob, who's from the beginning, because he is known as the firstborn, spoke Ge'ez. So God acknowledged Jacob, him as the firstborn. Therefore, Jacob is Isaac. Jacob is Abraham. Therefore, Jacob's son is Moses. So from him was spring the man who won the favor of all, dear to God and men, Moses, who goes by the name of Joseph. Don't forget, Jacob has 12 sons. One of them is Joseph, his favorite son. So his favorite is Moses. So Moses is just another name for Joseph. So let's watch what it says. All scripture is God breathed and is useful for teaching, rebuking, correcting, and training in righteousness, so that the servant of God may be thoroughly equipped for every good work. In other words, it was written before God himself. Before Moses. So God gave the commandments to the people of Israel about 2 months after Moses led them out of Egypt. The Bible shows that the 10 Commandments did not originate with Moses or in his time, nor were they anywhere limited only to the Jews. In other words, it was written way before Moses got the commandments. So Mount Horeb is a mountain which the 10 Commandments were given to Moses. So let's read. Remember, Moses is supposed to be here at the end of times, as mentioned in the books of Esdras. So it tells you This is the book of the prophet Esdras, the son of Heli, the son of Sarias, and Azarias. Very important. And at that time, you will find the son of Aaron, because Aaron is Levi. Aaron is the first Levite, therefore Aaron is Levi. So if Aaron is around, his brother must be around, Moses. And if Moses is around, that means his father, Israel, has to be around. So his father, Israel, goes by the name of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Oseas, Amos, Michias, Joel, Abdias, Jonas, Nahum, Habakkuk, Sophonias, Aggias, Zechariah, Malachi, which is also called an angel of the Lord. In other words, all those names refer to one angel. And this is the time that he brought the people out of bondage after he gave his commandments, which is supposed to happen at the end of the world, end of times. So I, Esdras, received the charge of the Lord upon the Mount Horeb, that I shall go unto Israel. I came unto them, they set me at naught, and despised the commandment of the Lord. So ye look forward for your shepherd, for he is near at hand. Thou shalt come in the end of the world. Be ready to the reward of the kingdom, for the everlasting light shall shine upon you forevermore. Or receive the gift that is given you, and be glad, giving thanks unto him that have called you to the heavenly kingdom. In other words, it's supposed to happen at the end of times. So what do you find at the end of times? You find the story of Joseph. So they went up to Mount Zion with gladness. Joseph, the son of Zacharias, and Azarias. And as we just said, Esdras, who goes by the name of Joseph, is the son of Zachariah and Azariah. And they're supposed to be here at the end of time, after the formation of Spain. So now Judas, who just left Joseph, and was in the time when they had done a country in Spain. And we all know that Spain was established in 1492. So all this has to happen after 1492. So you see, Joseph, the son of Zacharias, is in the same time that Judas went to his brother. So he left Joseph, the son of Zacharias and Azarias. You know what I'm saying? So Judas is supposed to be here at the same time as Azariah, same time the son of Azariah, and the same time the son of Zar together. In other words, it's supposed to be here at the end of time, and that's where you will find the sons of Jesus, who is the son of Josedek. So Josedek is just another name for Esdras, or Joseph. Remember, Joseph is Esdras. So let's watch. Mount Horeb happens at the end of times. So how many times did Jesus say he's the son of God? 41 times. He says the son of man 82 times. He says the son of David 16 times. He called the Father's name 165 times. So who is Solomon? Solomon is the son of King David. But Solomon also goes by the name of David. So this concludes the prayers of David. What concludes the prayers of David? The Psalm of Solomon. In other words, King David named his favorite son after himself. Therefore, Solomon goes by the name of David. So we just saw that this concludes the Psalms of David, the son of Jesse. So who's the son of Jesse? David. I have found in David the son of Jesse. Don't forget, Jesus is the son of David. So who is David? David is the son of Jesse. Don't forget, Spain was founded in 1492. In other words, Joseph, the father of Jesus, is supposed to be here after 1492. So notice it talks about the generations. So it starts off with the generations of the heaven and the earth, and Adam, Noah. Then it ends with the generation of Jacob and Joseph. In other words, father and son, who's supposed to be here at the end of times. And Joseph is Jesus' dad. Watch.
There is a phrase that is found mainly in the book of Genesis, apart from the book of Ruth It's the phrase, these are the generations of. Now, I just did a search on Blue Letter Bible. These are the generations, and it comes up with Genesis 2:4, Genesis 6:9, Genesis 10:1, Genesis 11:10, Genesis 11:27, Genesis 25:12, Genesis 25:19, Genesis 36:1, Genesis 36:9, Genesis 37:2. And the only other time it says these are the generations is once in the book of Ruth, but the entirety of all the rest of the Bible.
In other words, the Bible is about from beginning to end. So in the beginning was the generations of Adam, and it ended with the generations of Jacob and Joseph. Then you get Jesus. Then you get Jesus' two sons, Ezer and Sirach. And then Sirach has a son named Jesus. So those are the generations of Jacob and Joseph, which happens at the end of times when God gave the commandment. But if it wasn't for Europe creating 3 Bibles with an Old and New Testament format in the 1500s, from 1560 to 1611, they put the future in the past by creating an Old Testament format 8 years before they were going to start the transatlantic slave trade. So in other words, if I'm out to do slavery, I'm going to create an Old and New Testament format and put Exodus in the past, when in fact Moses and Jesus were not here in the past. And just like you have more than one name, they have more than one name. So Moses goes by the name of Esdras, he goes by the name of Solomon, he goes by the name of many names. He has many names. But look what they do. They always try to change up the past by creating some new discovery. And guess who always do it?
2018, an excavation of a Roman-era cemetery on the outskirts of Frankfurt uncovered the body of a man with a tiny silver locket wedged under his chin. Mysterious...
In Europe, a white guy found this. And guess what it's going to place? It's going to place Jesus in the 1st century because a white guy found it in Germany. When in fact, we already know Jesus is supposed to be here at the latter times.
Amulet was just 3.5 centimeters or 1.4 inches, and it contained a paper-thin sheet of silver that has literally changed the history of Christianity forever. Using a cutting-edge technology called fluoroscopy, which is essentially a moving X-ray, archaeologists were able to digitally unroll this 1,800-year-old scroll, but it took another 6 months for archaeologists to translate it.
They go out their way to create Jesus being here in the 1st century because they want you to think that Jesus died, and Jesus is Joshua. They want you to think that Moses died 3,400 years ago, when in fact they're supposed to be here now, right now.
What you're looking at now is the oldest evidence of Christianity north of the Alps. This was written during a time when Christians were still being persecuted. Written entirely in Latin, the scroll reads, "In the name of Saint..."
Written in Roman language, and whatever it says make no sense because you just found it and made it up. And if you ask them, when is Jesus' birthday, considering the Roman Pope told you he's not born on December 25th, and if he's born in the springtime, you don't know his birthday. So how could you know, how could you say he's God, you don't know his birthday? But we know who's God and when he was born. So, and on the 23rd day of the 7th month, he sent the people away into their tents, glad and merry in their heart, for the goodness that the Lord had showed unto David. In other words, King David is God himself, and he's born on July 23rd. That's why Haile Selassie is the root of David, the King of all kings, the Lord of all lords, is born on the 23rd day of the 7th month. Follow Jah, not man, and know who he is. He's the elect of God, the elect of himself, the King of Zion, King of Ethiopia.
The little Ethiopian monarch, Haile Selassie I, the conquering lion of the tribe of Judah, elect of God, King of kings, power of the Trinity, Emperor of Ethiopia.